It's story time. I'd like to tell you a very personal story about my journey as a developing spiritual teacher. It didn't matter in my journey to the world that I had been born with gifts. Around age 5, they opened up really strongly. I wasn't a bottom-up learner, rather top-down. Despite all of these deeply embodied mastered teachings, when I finally decided to step out and publicly become a spiritual teacher after 15 years of privately teaching people, just quietly, in my office, behind the scenes, in readings and shamanic healing work, teaching you without telling you that I was teaching you, but you asked, and what you ask for, you get. I finally decided to go public 7 years ago. Some of you were there when I started teaching and becoming a spiritual teacher publicly. This video is for people who want to not just perhaps consider becoming a spiritual teacher, but becoming your own brand of healer, your own brand of shaman, your own brand of alchemist, your own brand of perhaps your channel. Many of you in my current mentorship program today know my unique style of teaching, and the reason why it's unique is because it helps you find you. So here's my personal story. All of my teachers, I had 3 embodied and many without bodies, as you're aware. So all of my spiritual teachers, all 3 of them embodied on this earth at this time, basically wanted to inundate me with books. You need to work on self-love. Go towards this, go towards that. So I did it. I spent years in emotional integration. Very helpful, by the way. And then some of my alchemy teachers said, you need to remember Jacob Behmen. You need to remember some of the greats in alchemy. You need to sit with Helen Blavatsky. My teachers who were more scientific, both embodied and not, said you need to understand the science of Tesla. So I channeled him and I did. Well, as much as my non-scientific head could muster, I did. And then someone said, you need oneness. You're teaching oneness, but you don't know it. This was a living teacher. And he said to me, you need to do the Course in Miracles. So I did. Someone else said, you need to do Way of Mastery because it makes Course in Miracles make sense. So I did. Something was missing. Something was missing in the Tesla material. Something was missing in the ACIM material. Something was missing in the Way of Mastery material. Nothing, by the way, was missing in Course in Love material. Nothing. Because it brought me completely back to me. And it had a deep, just pull. I had a deep pull to it because it pulled me towards me. Someone then came and said, you need to understand the work of Byron Katie, go do the work. So I did for 7 years. Loved it, by the way. That's some work that definitely stuck with me. It kept going and it kept going and it kept going. I don't read, at least not very well. I'm legally blind. I have retinitis pigmentosa. So when I do read, if it's a good day, I can read with magnifying lenses. I've had many types of treatments. Some work, some don't. But regardless of that, reading became more and more difficult. And the spiritual meaning to that was that I was blind to myself and what I wanted to share because it kept coming through the lens of everything else that you all want to know. And when I would channel something, you would say, well, have you heard this teacher, living or dead? When I would channel a Buddhist, you would refer me to some Buddhist material that I had never heard of. If I channel any oneness teacher, you would refer me to another. And then I would go channel those beings, and I would go grab the books and put them on my chest. I'm very Edgar Casey-like in my channelings. So I would put all the books on my chest, and then they would absorb in meditation or sleep. And I'll wake up and go, wow, yeah. Oh my gosh, I remember when I used to do that in other lifetimes, not just this one. And then I'm like, wow, those are things that I already knew. Imagine it. And I was just absorbing it. And then I realized that it didn't matter. I even had a friend of mine knew someone who knew of me but didn't know me personally, but she liked my work, and her husband donated over 1,000 books to my library when she passed. So I couldn't complain from lack of access to material. And I felt like I was doing this to keep up with what you want me to teach. And one day, I got done. And since then, it's been an intense journey of writing books that are just mine, not inspired by anyone else. Channeling who I want to channel, teaching what I want to teach in a way that all influence is gone. And believe me, I had no choice. I thought these things would soak in. I put these books on my chest, they soak in, and here's what happened. The very next day, all of the stuff that I had read and absorbed and had studied, by putting the book on my chest, because that's what I do. I don't actually read books very well, at least as a legally blind person. And then the next day it would be gone. I would sit with Dolores and she's like, hey, go get my Jesus and the Essenes book, put it on your chest and go to sleep. Would do that. I'm like, oh, thanks. That was good material. Go channel that. Next day, it's done. So I started to ask myself, well, why? Not that that was a useless routine, because it certainly wasn't. But I began to long for something. Not only long for it, I began to cry for it, to plead for it. Recently, Dolores said it's time for you to no longer be teaching my material. And something's going to happen that's going to cause you to actually not, like legally not be able to. And that something did happen. And I received, for the first time in my professional life, a cease and desist letter telling me why I could no longer do that and how I will be sued, not just for if I do it right now, but for any past infringements where I've accidentally infringed upon someone's estate and trust. I didn't even know this was possible. But apparently, people own her image, her name, her likeness, and I'm not allowed to use it. And I cried, and I grieved. And she said, I'm still here, but remember when I said that you need to teach from your heart. You need to teach your material. You need to write your books. And you need to teach all of your students to find their own teachers and teachings. And I said, what do you want me to do, burn all the books? And she said, no, just ignore them for a while. No more putting books on your chest because other people need you to know something. No more being concerned about what if someone asks you a question that comes out of your mouth about some other teacher teaching right now that you're supposed to know, but you don't. The only person you're supposed to know about is you. The only teaching the world needs is yours, because it's coming from you. And if they found you, they're looking for you. And wow, it felt so freeing. So I started to sit with my students and tell them how to find themselves, how to find their own teachings, how to find their own processes. If there was something specific that I learned, sure, I would recommend it as a way of helping them get back to themselves. It's so easy to read, to study, to do what I did and download tons of material, to channel other beings. I'm a multidimensional channel. I've been channeling all these beings for the majority of my life. And there are a couple of beings that you've never heard of before, Lilith and Halel, Kitara, beings coming from the Council of Nine, including D. We have to call her D now. Otherwise I get sued. I can't use any names, image, or likeness. And I realized they were all coming from a council that I'm on. And I wanted to begin to share about that. And I realized that all the books made sense, especially Ra material, because Ra is on that council as well. My higher self is on that council. And my human's here for a reason. And that reason is important. So, the moral of the story is, sometimes you just need to channel you. Sometimes you just need to write your own book. If you're a teacher, guide other students into themselves. And if you're a student, guide you into you. And don't be afraid to turn off YouTube, put all the books down, put all the teachings down, and share your own voice. Pioneers, you're right there with me. When you share your own voice, people barely understand what you're saying. I get that. When you share your own voice, they don't listen. Because you don't have a book, you don't have a contract with Gaia, you don't have a TV show, you can't fill up a room. You might be new. Maybe no one knows your name yet. I hear you, I feel you, I'm there. I don't have a contract with Gaia, although I have written some things for their blogs before. Some things were accepted, many things weren't. My stuff was so unusual that Gaia let me go. They couldn't handle it. They're like, no, I'm sorry. This is good, we'll publish this one, but oh my gosh, I don't know about the rest of that. Made polite excuses to not work with me anymore. Do you think that stopped me? No. I've had 3 publishers so far decline my book, hence self-publishing. New teachers, new channels, new healers out there, you're going to get rejected, and you're going to get rejected a lot. That means you're a pioneer. You're going to read things, you're going to learn things, you're going to open up YouTube and say, this is it. No, wait, I don't like that. This is it. No, wait, I don't like that. This is it. Oh, wait, no, it's not. You're it. You're it. I learned that when I finally stopped worrying about pleasing the rest of you, and I started channeling the beings that I want to channel, writing what and how I want to write, teaching what and how I want to teach, my work blew up. My Patreon channel climbed. Not 1 time, not 2 times, but 3 times more patrons than ever before, simply because I'm teaching from myself. A Gaia contract didn't create it, a book didn't create it. Nothing like that. But now books are coming. And I don't have to worry about anyone else to say I can't. That's how albums got here as well. And you know, the albums are not like anything you've ever heard before, because I'm a pioneer. And I'm not like anything you've ever heard before. You're not like anything else that you're going to find out there in the world. I feel really passionate about this topic today because I feel really passionate about putting my teachings out there, whether you like it or not, whether you accept it or not, whether you love it or not. And now that I've started to do that, as 7 years, I'm a baby, 7 years of teaching only publicly. Now suddenly you're listening, and suddenly I'm able to help people. Why? Because what I share is me, creatively. And do I have inspirations? Yes. Do some books help? Yes. But they go. The teachings go, the books go, the teachers go, and then you're left with yourself, okay? And that's going to feel overwhelming to you. But if you want to reach people, keep in mind that there's a reason why you want to reach people. And keep in mind that we don't need anything else that's like any of the other current living teachers, because they're already doing the work. We don't need any more things that are like ACIM, because ACIM is impeccably good by itself. We don't need, artists out there that are exactly like Georgia O'Keeffe. I don't know why that comes to mind. Some of you out there must really love her. I don't even know who she is, but she already did it. We don't need another musician out there that sounds exactly like Annie Lennox, because she already did it. Do you see where I'm going with this? You're teaching you. You're sharing you. You are pioneers, healers, teachers, shamans, channels, and you're here to teach something unique. My advice to you, do your YouTubes directly from your heart. Don't even research. There's so many days when I ask my very full Patreon community, what do you want me to talk about today? And I look at that and I go, I'm sorry guys, it's none of that. Let's try again on another day. Today we're doing me. Today I'm teaching you about me. And today I'm teaching you to remember that you are significant. Your teachings are unknown and needed, because you are the pioneers of a new wave of consciousness that has not been remembered. If it is out there, it isn't remembered. You don't remember it yet. So don't worry if people come to you and say, have you heard this, teacher? Have you heard this teaching? Have you read this? Have you done that? Just say, no, I haven't. I'm teaching this right now. I'm learning that right now. I'm creating this right now. Go for it. Be you. You are the pioneers. I love you.